Hello and welcome to SnowStorm TCG. For this video we will be exploring one of the new leaders in the One Piece card game, OP15, and namely Green-Black Brook. This deck is a lot of fun in my opinion, probably not one of the better decks in the format, but hopefully he could get a place in the meta. Who knows? We'll see how the meta develops going forward. I hope you will enjoy the games, and an FYI, I'm speaking a bit softly throughout the video because my 2.5-year-old son is sleeping in the next room here. And also, for some reason, I refer to DMG, Dead Man's Game, as DMC throughout the entire video. Who knows why? So yeah, there's that, don't mind it. Otherwise, please enjoy the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos in the future. And please enjoy the games. Okay, so for the first game we are up against Yellow Kalgara, a leader that has gotten some support as well. I'm not quite liking this starting hand, so we're going for a mulligan. Our opponent opted to go first, which is to be expected. And from my testing so far with Brook, I do prefer going first as well. We do see the Sanji on turn 1, which is good, so we can use Sanji plus leader effect to start milling, filling up our trash, which we really want to do as quickly as possible. Now the only thing I would want to see for our next turn here is a 2-cost chopper to help further fill up the trash and also retrieve a card from trash using the activate main effect. So our opponent was able to play the new 3-cost Kalgara on curve, doing some searching, which is really good. Here we do not see the 2-cost chopper, which is a shame. That is definitely slowing things down for us more than we would like. Kalgara is such an aggressive deck as well, so I feel like this matchup is mostly comes down to who can be more aggressive than okay, yeah. We did see our opponent search up the new Viper, so it's to be expected that he would play that out and get rid of our Zoro. At least we get to keep Sanji. It's not like that's anything huge for us, but we didn't have a better play last turn anyway, so yeah, our opponent is filling up the board nicely. Doing lots of searching. We're taking hits, hit after hit, so we're definitely off to a slow start here. Our trash is getting filled up, but not quite as quickly as we would like to. So here I'm just trying to get some cards from our opponent's hand. And doing the best thing we can do at the moment. So we play out double attacker Luffy and another Zoro blocker, just hoping he will not play out another Viper to get rid of this Zoro as well. So we do have Dawn up for a DMC, and since we are pretty bricked up, we will likely have to use that one to defend ourselves now. Just waiting for our opponent's moves here. So our opponent's board is completely full. He's poking, so we have to defend these swings. We cannot take any more aggressively now unless we have to. He's poking 5s. We're using up all the counter we have, so only 3 cards in hand. We'll take this hit, so down to 1 life and 1 jump blocker on the field. It's not looking great. It's really not looking great. And here, just to... yeah, he plays out an 8k body as well. So I believe I will... let's see. Yeah, I believe we end up using the DMC here to defend ourselves, yeah. So this is far from an optimal situation. We are extremely bricked up. We have 1 2k in hand and 3 bricks. Our board is not nearly as full as we would want it to be. And we only have 1 life, so really thinking about what to do in this situation. Again, I'm just going to poke for 5, hoping to get some more cards from his hand. And I believe I'm going to swing 7 with double attack on his life. Do not expect him to take this either. But we get his counter event. So now I'm just gonna go for a Nami into Nightmare Luffy play. And just cross our fingers and hope we can survive next turn. So here also I, of course, would like to clear 1 of his bodies from the board. But I expect him to counter out if he can, which he should be able to. I believe we've seen him search up a few 2Ks as well earlier. Yeah, so he defends. He has a full board, and this is... I'm going to pause for a minute. This, in this situation, the correct thing for our opponent to do would have absolutely been to go for game here. Of course, we have some defense, being a 7k leader, thanks to the Nightmare Luffy's effect, because we have more than 20 cards in trash. But we only have 1 life, we have 1 small blocker, and only 3 cards in hand. Now, of course, our opponent do not know that we are bricked up. We only have 1 2k and 2 bricks. So that is information our opponent obviously do not have. But he has 9 dons for the turn and 6 swings. So without a doubt, the correct thing for him would have been to just poke face, and he would have won. we wouldn't have been able to defend. He should probably have started with like a 9k swing at face or something. But he goes for another play instead, which really helps us. Which really helps us get back into this game, because if he had decided to just go face, which he should have, we would not have survived, as it's looking right now. But for some reason, he loads up 5 Don on his 6-cost Kalgara and swings into our Nightmare Luffy, hoping to clear that off the board. I'm gonna go ahead and block that swing immediately. He loads up another Don to swing at our Secret Luffy. Just checking the trash real quick. We only have a 2k in hand. So here, I believe, I'm just trying to calculate how many other swings he could get through. And thus, yeah, I do end up countering, because it's clear to me at this point that he has given up going for game this turn. So yeah, we really got off easy that turn. We should not have survived another turn. We definitely shouldn't have. So now that we have been given a second chance, we're gonna do the best that we can to take this game. Just going for a few pokes first. I believe I'm planning to play out Nami to get another big rush swing. Okay, so he takes the 6k swing. And I play Nami into Brook. I believe I'm gonna load up 1 Dawn on Brook and swing for 7. And then we can use Brook's effect to restand our Nightmare Luffy. Okay, so yeah, he gives up. So this is a game we definitely should not have won. Our opponent for sure should have gone for game. But, well, sometimes we make mistakes, and it's a completely new format. It could be a new player as well, I don't know. But we were able to take this game thanks to him not going for game when he should have. So here he just quit before we got to do all our swings. So we swung for 7 with Brook. And then we would have loaded up the last on Nightmare Luffy, swing for 10. Afterwards we would have used Brook's effect to trash him and restand our Nightmare Luffy and swing for 10 again. Alright, game number 2. This time we're up against Lucy. A new pretty interesting deck. I've been testing it for some games. Definitely gonna be playing it more. Here we get to go first, which is what I want to do. We have our Sanji to start milling a lot. Sanji plus leader effect to mill 9 cards turn 1. Just checking the trash to see what we've got. And for turn 2 we do have Chopper this time around, which is amazing. So we can keep milling and milling and milling. And now I'm just planning ahead. Our next turn will be at 5 Dawn, so we would want to get the Pirate Docking 6 back from trash with Chopper's activate main effect. So that is most likely what we're gonna do. And first we're gonna swing for 6. It would have been better probably to use Chopper's effect first for proper sequencing, just in case they get a trigger, bottom deck Chopper or something like that. So yeah, as I said, we're gonna pick Pirate Docking 6 from trash. Just checking what other cards we have. Then we're gonna pass the turn. So here our opponent is on 4 Dawn. They hard cast the 4-drop Cavendish, which is way better for us than if it would have been if they had played it out with Memento. So we definitely take that. There's less filtering and card draw for our opponent. So now I'm just planning ahead the coming turns, but the only right play here is to play Pirate Docking 6 into Chopper again. But before that, I'm going to swing 5 at our opponent. I believe they're gonna take this hit. They only have 5 cards in hand, so I would be surprised if they defend. No, they take it. As expected. Okay, so we play out Pirate Docking 6. Use its on-play effect to grab back a chopper. I'm also looking through the trash. Was thinking about maybe playing out the Zoro blocker as well. But definitely the right choice to go for chopper to keep milling. And I believe I'm gonna get back a 2k Sanji from trash with chopper's effect to have some more counter in hand to defend myself, and also to have more ways to mill. So this is an easy 2k. I'm just waiting for him to resolve his when attacking effect. Draw 2, trash 1 with Cav. He trashes the Variables event. And yeah, we're just gonna 2k out of this. So our opponent is a 6 Dawn. He cannot play the 7-drop Sabo yet. Now he goes for the Memento. I believe he should probably play out another Cav here, if I remember correctly. I believe that's his play. That would be the best possible play he could make here, I believe. So first, draw 2, trash 1, and here comes the Cav. Yeah. And a Rebecca to search. And then he should probably attach the last Dawn to Rebecca to make her a blocker as well. I believe that's what he's gonna do. Now, it would have been better for him to swing before he plays the Rebecca. Not that I have any triggers that can get rid of his characters, but I mean just to practice proper sequencing. And he attaches the last Dawn to Rebecca to make her a blocker, as expected. Okay, so we're at 7 Dawn. Here I'm just thinking ahead a little bit. So the correct play here is to play out Nightmare Luffy on curve. If I remember correctly, that is what I am about to do. I'm just thinking if there are any other options. But I do believe I'm gonna go for the Nightmare Luffy play here. I'm also thinking about maybe playing out blockers. We do have the 4-drop Nami blocker that could rest the Rebecca. I could swing in with our 1-drop Sanji to get rid of the Rebecca blocker. Then maybe play out Zoro as well. But I excuse me. I will go for the Nightmare Luffy play instead, which is the correct play to make here. Poking 5 first, expecting him to counter. He actually gives up a 2k, which is good information. I was expecting him to give me an event with a leader effect here. So I'm still thinking about maybe going for some blockers. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I'm thinking this hard about it. But it's a new format, a new deck, new cards. Just trying to think of different lines. So he does have 2 calves on the board. I believe we saw him searching up the 7-drop Fire Fist event earlier. So that's also why I'm thinking about maybe playing the blockers instead. Specifically the Soda blocker that can protect our cards against removal. Because I am expecting him to play the 7-drop 9k blocker Sabo and activating the Fire Fist event to try to get rid of our board next turn. But I do decide to go for the Nightmare Luffy play, and if he plays the Sabo into Fire Fist, worst case scenario, he just gets one of my bodies off the board, which is bad, but I think it's still better to go for the Nightmare Luffy play instead of the blockers, and hope for the best. So our opponent is taking some time to think as well. And here they're starting with, obviously these attacks can't go through because I'm a 7k base leader now, thanks to the Nightmare Luffy, because we have more than 20 cards in trash. But they're probably just swinging to get the effect. Draw 2, trash 1. So our opponent's hand is absolutely stacked right now. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards. We're still just waiting for our opponents to finish his effect here. Alright, plays out the stage. And here comes the blocker Sabo. So now I'm expecting him to use Fire Fist. And here I believe I mess up slightly. I was so focused on him using Fire Fist that I forgot about this event's effect. I forgot that he gets double attack. So I just take this hit, I believe. I could have easily 2k'd out of it. But I also want to keep Sanji in hand in case I have to use that to mill next turn. So here I just realized that, oh wait, he got double attack. I'm down to 1 life. That's not what I had planned, but that happens. Okay, so let's see. We're at 9 Dawn for the turn. Our opponent's hand is absolutely stacked. And we have 7 cards in trash. We could use the leader effect this turn, get down to 0 cards. But with this many cards in our opponent's hand and 9k blocker and them being at 3 lives still, it's very, very, very unlikely that we would win this turn. So I am gonna go for, I believe, a Nami play here. Really taking some time to think. Nami into Secret Luffy. And we get to set 4 Dawn active. So at this point we could play the Nami blocker over our 1-cost Sabo to rest their Sabo blocker. Okay, let's see. I might just start poking 5 here. He should just give me a 1k or a event from hand. Gives me a Rebecca 1k. Alright. So we have a double attack, 7k double attack, another 7k, and a 10k. We use the leader effect to mill, so we're down to 3 cards in the deck. I believe I'm gonna attach 2 Dawn Swing for 9k with double attack here. And as I expected, he blocks and counters out, so he still has the stage effect as well left for the turn. We go for a 7k again. Waiting for our opponent to respond here. And I believe, since there is no world in which we win here, obviously, I'm gonna try to clear one of his bodies from the board instead. Just checking the trash a little bit. I believe I'm looking for DMCs. Thinking about how many. Yeah, so we're going for 11k into one of the Cavendishes, and I believe we're just gonna play Soro over the 1-drop Sanji. If I remember correctly, he will let this Cavendish go, which I do like to see. Okay. I believe this game, just remembered, I believe this game our opponent actually ends up running out of time. Is it this game? It could be. We'll see. I do know one of the games ends in an unfortunate way because our opponent runs out of time, so we win because they time out. Not sure if it's this one. They start to counter out, at least. Okay, so at least it was not right now. So we just passed the turn here. We do have some counter in hand. We are at 7k base, thanks to the Nightmare Luffy. But we only have 1 life. 1 small chump blocker. So let's see. I'm kind of expecting a second blocker Sabo plus event, like Fire Fist or something like that. Our opponent still has a lot of cards in hand, and he can keep cycling even more with his double Cavendish swings this turn as well. So just waiting for them to make their plays. Okay, maybe it is actually this game. Okay, no, they are doing things. Okay, so they hard play the Fire Fist event, the 7-cost Fire Fist event, to bring our Nightmare Luffy down to 2k power. And they get plus 3k power for their leader for the turn. I'm just checking the trash to see what we've got. Okay, so they go for a 6k with Cav into our Nightmare Luffy. And here I'm thinking about if there is a way to defend this one. It's not looking good, of course. I do believe I'm gonna just let it go immediately. But that will bring us down to a 5k base leader again. So I'm just calculating, seeing if there is a world where we could actually not save it completely, but have our opponent invest more swings before we give up the Nightmare Luffy. But I believe we're just gonna let it go immediately, which is the right choice here. So I'm really taking my sweet time thinking about this. But as everyone else, I'm just trying to learn the most optimal play lines with these new cards. So I just want to take some extra time to think everything through. Okay, so he goes for another event, Just Watch Me Ace, to give our Secret Luffy minus 3k power. And here I believe I will defend this one. We have the 0 cost 3k event in hand. Gonna use that here to defend Luffy. And then he have... So I'm thinking maybe he will not swing with his blocker. And just use his leader swing here to try to get rid of one or more of our bodies. So he do end up swinging with his leader first. I believe I'm gonna block this, hoping that he will not swing with his blocker. So we don't have much counter left in hand anymore. I mean, we have 2k, 1k, 1k, 1k. But if he ends up swinging with his blocker... Let's see. Yeah, so we block this one. And I believe he will swing with his double blocker. Yeah, he goes for a 9k swing into 4k. And we are unable to counter out of this one. Unfortunately, we have to give it up. He then passes the turn with 2 done up, so it's likely that he has 2 more counter events. The Just Watch Me Ace event, I believe it's called. That gives one of my characters, I believe it's only characters, minus 3k for the turn. And here we have it. Yeah, exactly. So we're not in the best spot right here. I'm counting how many 2Ks our opponent has in trash here. We're 10 down, but we don't have a Nami. I mean the 8 cost Nami, so we can't go for another chain summoning here to play something out with Rush from the trash, which would have been nice. So we'll see. Can't actually remember what we're going for here. We might just poke 5 first to try to get a card from our opponent's hand. Lucy can be quite tanky because he can use his events as counter for his leader, not for his characters, unless he uses the stage. That way he can, once per turn, use an event from hand as a 2k counter that can also be used to protect characters. So I do think this is actually the game where our opponent ends up timing out. Could be wrong, but we'll see. we'll see what happens. I have experienced, as many others as well, some issues with Project Raftel. It's cool that there is a different way to play One Piece online, but there are some connection issues I've noticed at times, where you just disconnect suddenly, or the game freezes or something, and you end up just running out of time or something like that. So that's unfortunate, and that could be what happens to our opponent here soon, I believe. So I'm just thinking about what to do, and I honestly can't remember what we're going for here. We do have a blocker in hand. We have a chopper as well, so we could get something back from trash. But never mind, we cannot play chopper, because then we would mill out and we would lose at the end of this turn, unless we can somehow magically win on the spot. So, okay, they give up the Cavendish. And let's see what we'll do next. Going for an 8k into the other Cavendish, hoping he will let that go as well. Maybe they're completely bricked up, even though they have a lot of cards in hand still. But it would be really easy for them to counter out of this one. They can still use their stage for the turn, and they likely have at least one event in hand that they can use. Okay, so they end up using Just Watch Me Ace to protect the Cavendish here. Since we do not have a Nightmare Luffy on the board, it could just be the best play to play that one out, just so we become a 7k base, and that is exactly what I'm gonna do here. Okay, so now we're probably just gonna pass the turn. Yeah, we can't do anything else without milling out, which we don't want to do just yet. So we're sitting at 1 life, no blockers, and only 4 cards in hand. At least it's a 2k and 3 1ks, so no bricks. That's something, at least. So let's see what our opponent ends up doing here. Just gonna fast forward a little bit. Okay, it looks like this actually is the game where our, yeah, okay, unfortunately this is the game where our opponent ends up running out of time. So that's quite the anticlimactic ending to the game, but that happens. Okay, so let's see. We're up against red, yellow, Bonney. We get to go first, which is great. Off to a good start, milling with Sanji and the leader. And we get Chopper on the board to mill even more. And here we have the Pirate Docking 6 in trash, which is perfect. Actually also gonna go for a search here, grab a 2k. It's unfortunate that you cannot search up the 8-drop Nami. Here I made a horrible mistake, which I realize pretty much now, I believe. I did intend to use Chopper to bring back the Pirate Docking 6, so I could play that on curve during this next turn. But yeah, I slipped up, I messed up, and accidentally just picked the 8-drop Nami from trash instead. I believe I just thought so much about not being able to search up the 8-drop Nami with the 1-drop Nami searcher. So I ended up picking that from trash, but my plan definitely was to pick up Pirate Docking 6. So I really messed up, which hurt our curve a lot. So going for another Nami search instead. What we definitely wanted to do was establish the Pirate Docking 6 plus Chopper from trash again this turn. But yeah, sometimes you make mistakes. Red Yellow Bonney wants to go down in life pretty quickly. So I'm just poking 5 here. And playing Chopper again. We do have Nightmare Luffy for next turn and the 8-drop Nami. So with this Chopper, I believe I'm just gonna get back a 2k from trash, yeah. And then play out Zoro. They play 5-drop Nami, forcing us to take a life to hand. And I believe they're just gonna swing 7 at face here. Using the leer effect to minus 1k to our Zoro blocker. I'm gonna counter out. I don't want to go down too quickly in life here. So now we're at 7 Dawn. This is definitely time to play Nightmare Luffy. Also thinking about the Secret Luffy in case they heal up next turn. I actually do end up going for that play. Just to get more Dons active so I can... I believe I maybe planned to play out the blocker Nami to rest their blocker. Not sure why I ended up doing this instead. But at least we got rid of their blocker, their small blocker. We had to get rid of that sooner or later anyway. So our opponent is on 8 Dawn. And yeah, they search and they find their 7-drop Zoro. So they're able to play that this turn, which is really good. Which also means that Bonney will be a 9k base power during our next turn here. Alright, so we're at 9 Dawn. This is definitely the time to play the 8-drop Nami into Nightmare Luffy. Can't really swing much this turn, since our opponent is a 9k power leader this turn. Using the leader effect to mill, trying to set up for a big finisher next turn potentially. And I believe I'm just gonna poke with a Nightmare Luffy here on their leader. Okay, no, I end up just passing, which probably is the correct play, because they could have otherwise perhaps lowered the power of our Nightmare Luffy and take it out. And I did not want to swing on their Nami for obvious reasons. They could have played out maybe a Borsalino off of the Nami effect to heal up and get a blocker on the field, so did not want to swing into that. And here I did expect them to play out the 10-drop secret Luffy that can become a blocker for a turn and boosting the leader's power by 2k. But fortunately for us, they did not have it. Instead, they swing 7 with leader and 9 with their Zoro. So here I'm gonna cash in on the blocker. And they play out Borsalino to heal up, get a blocker on the board. So now that means our opponent is just a 5k power leader this turn, which is great, of course, for us. So I'm gonna play out Nami to rest their Barca. They do have one active Don though, so they likely have a counter event. I'm just gonna attach, I believe 2 Don to swing for 9k with double attack here. And they end up taking it, which surprised me. So I'm thinking they likely have a lot of counter in hand. They are now a 7k base because they are at 0 life. So my only hope here is to swing 14 twice with this Nightmare Luffy. I basically have no way to survive next turn, likely. So using the leader, and it worked out. They must have bricked out completely. So we got lucky. They must have had a lot of bricks in hand. I definitely did not expect them to go down that easily. So let's move on to the last game here. We're up against Vegapunk, and they get to go first, which is what they want to do. Meaning we will not get our preferred curve here. We at least can start milling with the leader effect and Sanji in hand to fill up our trash. And just a bit of a heads up disclaimer here. I believe this is a game where our opponents, well, let's just say they did not make the best possible plays at all times throughout this game. No hate, of course. But I believe this is a game where they made some suboptimal plays. So they have started to fill up the board properly. They have the stage. So they're likely just gonna swing and restand here. Not that we can swing into that Atlas anyway right now. Okay, they left it rested. So we're using the leader effect to keep milling as much as possible. Probably just gonna go for a 2-cost chopper play here. We will be at 6 Dawn. Okay, I'm thinking about maybe playing the Nami blocker to rest their Lilith and trying to go for a bit of board control here. So we are going to do that. Poke a 5. They only have 4 cards in hand, so I'm hoping they might let this go. I believe they do. Yeah, they let it go. Okay. So we definitely do not want to swing at our opponent's life, because that's the same thing as giving them what they want, essentially. They can just fill out the board. Likely. They're very likely to just get a lot of triggers and fill out the board if we start swinging at their life. So we want to set up a bit more before we do that. So they go for a Vegapunk blocker play into Shaka. Looking good for them so far. They also play out Edison. So their board is almost full at this point. And they go ahead and swing with Atlas. And we take. Actually don't have a 2k in hand, and I did not want to give our opponent that information at this point. Also didn't want to use up our blocker already. So gonna go ahead and mill with the leader effect again. And still I do not want to swing at our opponent's life just yet, so I'm just gonna play out the Secret Luffy, restand a bunch of Dawn, play out Chopper, and grab something back from trash, probably a 2k. Oh wait, we cannot. We had one 2k too. I was looking for the Sanji 2k, which we did not have in trash, but we had the green Zoro 2k at least. So let's see what our opponent will do here. They play out Stussy, the Stussy blocker, into another Shaka blocker. So they definitely should have swung with their Edison first. I do not know why they didn't. That's one clear play mistake. They go ahead and swing with their Shaka as well, which they can do for free, and then just restand it at the end of the turn with their stage effect. Pretty good. And we take this hit, 2 life. So we're down to 1 life, but we're at 8 Dawn. We can go for a 8-drop Nami play here into Nightmare Luffy, likely. Wait, did we even have a Nightmare Luffy in trash? I couldn't see actually, so if we... Okay, now let's see. If we didn't have any Nightmare Luffy in trash, it would be better to just hard play this from hand, and that is what we're gonna end up doing. This way we also get 1 Dawn left for a DMC to defend ourselves, because our opponent will likely swing a lot at us this turn. But we do have a decent amount of counter in hand. We have 1 DMC, we have the 0 cost 3k event and triple 3k, so it's pretty decent, since we're also a 7k base power leader this turn, thanks to the Nightmare Luffy. So they swing 7 first. This is an easy 1k. Gonna use Brook. We also still have the blocker Nami on board. So let's see what they end up doing here. I believe they're about to swing with their Stussy blocker. No, they load up 3 Dawn on Atlas first. Okay, so This could be an easy 0 cost 3k or DMC, but I believe I want to. Okay, we're gonna cash out on the blocker here instead. Just trying to keep our hand size healthy for a bit longer. So this is, they load up 4 dons on Stussy, so I'm expecting them to swing in here. But for some reason I believe they actually end up passing the turn here instead. I guess they wanna just, and yeah, they also load up 1 don on their active Shaka and then pass the turn. So that could have been a mistake. I'm not sure what they ended up doing there. They could have easily swung with Stussy if they wanted to as well, and then restand their rested Shaka with the stages effect and still have 3 blockers active. So that's an interesting decision. Could have been a mistake. Could have been a misclick, who knows. Alright, so I'm just gonna play out this Luffy, restand a bunch of Don, and go for a 7k double attack. They block with Stussy first, which is really interesting. They definitely should have used the Vegapunk blocker first, in my opinion. Then I attach 1 Don to leader, swing for 6, just so they cannot get a free block with the Shaka here. Our opponent only have 3 cards in hand, which is really good for us, at least. They take this one, and I believe they had a trigger. Yeah, they did get a trigger, and they play out Frankie. I expected them to play out the Searcher Lilith here, but for some reason they went with Frankie instead. Okay, so swinging 7 again, they block with Shaka, swinging 10. Now they block with Vegapunk. Do not know why they didn't use that one for the first swing. Okay, playing out another chopper, using it to grab a Sanji. Play out Sanji 2k, playing out Soro, and here we pass the turn. They play out a 9-drop Bonney. We're a 7k base and we have a decent amount of counter in hand still. I'm definitely expecting them to go face here, but either way, we're pretty safe. We have a blocker, we have 1 Dom for a DMC, we have double 0 cost 3k event and a 2k in hand, which is more than enough since we're a 7 cost. And they actually swing at our Nightmare Luffy, which is really interesting. They definitely should have gone all in phase here. So that's an easy 1k to get out of that, and now they can only go for 1 7k swing with Atlas here. And instead they load it up on Shaka, swings at our Luffy character. They can use the stage to restand Shaka anyway, so that's fine, I guess. But I do not know why they didn't go face here. It wouldn't have mattered. We could have just countered out anyway. So here we're going to use the DMC, rest their Shaka, and just poke 7 face. They take, and for some reason they trigger out Frankie instead of keeping it in hand. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, because we can swing for a lot this turn, yeah. So we win the game here. Even after this, we had 6 Don active. We had Nami and Nightmare Luffy, plus the leader and the leader effect to restand Nightmare Luffy. So we could have swung a lot more this turn. There was no way our opponent could survive this one. Alright, so those were the games for today's video. Let's just quickly check out the deck list here at the end. So it's a new format. People are still trying to learn the new cards, the new decks, and it will be really interesting to see how the meta develops. Brook, as I believe I said in the beginning of the video, I don't think he will be one of the better decks in the format, but it sure is, in my opinion, a really fun deck to play around with. I love these black effects, playing around with trash, milling and replaying cards from trash. It's a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe the meta develops in a different way than expected, so Brook becomes viable. Who knows? It could happen. Anyway, it's a really fun deck to play around with, and this is just the first draft of a deck list that I have gone for now, with some searches here. These 2k counters are incredibly good to fill up your trash as quickly as possible. Also chopper. The chopper and these 2ks, you always want to see them at the start of the game, basically, so you can start filling up your trash together with your leader effect as quickly as possible. And then, as I've said throughout the video, I believe, so far I feel like going first is the best curve for this deck. You can start milling with one of these, plus leader effect turn 1 and chopper turn 2, and then on your 5 down turn you ideally want to play pirate docking 6, grabbing a chopper back from trash to mill even more and get something back from trash again with chopper. So and then on your 7 down turn you can play Nightmare Luffy on curve, or the Secret Luffy is also really good to restand a bunch of Dawn, maybe playing out a blocker or something and swinging harder at your opponent, and then going for a Nami into Nightmare Luffy or Nami into Secret Luffy potentially on the turn after. And you just want to go really aggressive with this deck, in my experience, because while you do have some counter power in this 0 cost 3k, bunch of 2ks and stuff, some blockers, you usually take a lot of hits and just try to hammer your opponent down as quickly as possible. And it's fairly easy, in my experience, to get the leader effect off. And I mean the effect where you can restand one of your characters when you get down to 0 cards in your deck. Initially I thought it would be much harder to get that off consistently on the right turns, but since you have so many ways to mill between these 2ks, the chopper, the leader effect, even this event, you could use the main effect to mill 5 cards if you want to, if you really need to. So you can easily get down to 0 cards when you need to, most of the time. So that part of the deck works out better than I thought it would be, actually. And this card, the Nightmare Luffy, really helps you stay healthy late game way easier, thanks to it bumping up your leader to a 7k once you have 20 or more cards in trash. So it's a really fun deck to play around with, in my opinion. I will definitely try it out more, but for the next video I'm gonna go for some other deck. We'll see. I'm not sure which it will be yet, but some of the other new OP15 decks for sure. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, if you've been watching to the end. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you saw and if you want to see more of my videos in the future. Thank you. Bye.